You've been a doctor now for the army and you've been a civilian doctor. What are the difference between the two?
I think in the army, there is no monetary benefit for anybody. But your colleague in another department is likely to turn around and say, that was my turf, why did you interfere? In the civil setup. Because there money comes in.
Many people perceive the armed forces to be like a boys' club.
You have to establish who is boss. The Subedar Major, he walks in and he says, आप एक चीज याद रखना, जितनी आपकी उम्र नहीं है, उससे ज्यादा मेरी सर्विस है.
So how do you manage being in the army, being a doctor and family?
There would be times when my daughter, she'd call up, Murari uncle, जरा मम्मी को कहना, उनकी शक्ल भूल रही है.
When doctors try to enjoy even a penny of their money, they are ridiculed.
It is a perception in society कि डॉक्टर को सेवा करनी चाहिए.
But does government pay better than corporate?
Junior doctors often start at 1 lakh a month. 1 lakh a month.
Patients attacking doctors. In Kolkata, there was a very brutal murder that had happened, rape and murder.
It is a huge responsibility because you are dealing with somebody else's life. In our country, levels of education are low.
You also mentioned your husband's had Parkinson's and many people thought you should be opting for medication versus exercise.
Today, there is proof that exercise is vital.
If you could go back and change one thing in your life, what would that be?
Strive to get more control on my temper.
One good thing about aging.
Complete control on your time and independence.
And one thing you disliked about being young.
No time for myself.
I'm delighted to be a part of 01 Media Network. If you want to learn from the lived experiences of our seniors, Been There, Done That is the channel to follow.
Hello and welcome. I'm Rajneel Kamath, the host of the Been There, Done That podcast. On this show, we talk to seniors about their lives, their experiences, their learnings, and also get their insights on how they have an active and healthy lifestyle. Our guest today is a doctor, an educator, a mentor, a mother, a grandmother. When asked how many children she has, she jokingly used to say 6, 2 under the age of 20 and 4 over the age of 60. She's a Visisht Seva Medal awardee given to her by the President of India in 2003 and has also got commendation cards by the Chief of Army Staff in 2015. I'm in conversation with Dr. Brigadier Sunita Kakkar. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Rajneel. Thank you for inviting me and thank you for that very flattering introduction about me. Thank you.
There are a lot more flattering things as we converse, but I want to start by asking you, you've always said that your theory for life is 2 F's, 2 P's and an S. What is that theory?
PPSFF, that's
What
right.
is that?
So, your physical, your psychological health, your friends and your family, let me put that as family and friends, your finances and your social milieu. So your physical health is the most important in my opinion. The only thing which lives with you throughout, जिसे कहते हैं ना सही मायने में जीवन साथी वो आपका शरीर है और कुछ नहीं सही मायने में that is the only thing which is your साथी. Your psychological, your mental health is very important in my opinion. Your family is your anchor. What will you do with your physical health and your psychological health if you are not anchored? And to anchor you down, I think family, hearth and home are very, very important. They keep you grounded. They help you soar up into the skies. Your finances are very important. Money plays an important part because it helps you. Not too much of it, but you need some money. And social, with social, I would include your profession, your position, your prestige, your friends, all that. So these are 5 things which I feel each of them has 2 points.
Which are?
Each of these, the 2 P's, physical, psychological, family, social, and your finances, each has 2 points. Each human being comes into life with a score of 0. Okay. And you exit with a score of 10. You try however much you may, you cannot exceed 10. But if you've lived a full life, in all your aspects, in all your facets, then each of these can only have 2 out of 2. That will make it 10. 5 points, 2 each, 10. Somebody who is super rich, like Mr. Junjunwala was, has a lot of other problems. He was wheelchair bound, he was diabetic, he passed away so soon. So his finances may have been 6 on 10, 7 on 10, but in other places he was 0 on 2. He was 0 for the sum total. Right. It's like that. So my theory is these 5 are what make you stand in life. It's like a tripod. You need those 3 legs to be balanced. Right. Otherwise, you lose your balance in life.
How did this theory come about? Is it with all the experience that you have, or when did you figure out this is what it was going to be?
I think I must have been somewhere in my early 30s at that time, when one of my uncles, he once propounded and he said this. He said, Mano, you cannot, he used to always use this little term, Mano. Okay. Mano, zindagi mein har cheez nahi milti. But if you do things in moderation, then you can manage to enjoy every aspect, every facet of life. And it was at that point that I thought about it, and I have said this. And the other sort of dictum that I live by is, this too shall pass. Okay. You know, zindagi ka paiya bhaiya, kabhi upar, kabhi niche bhaiya.
Correct. Right. You've been a doctor, you've been practicing for decades. Are you still practicing now?
Not in active medical practice now. I was till 2020, okay. And then I pulled out of it. I am an oncopathologist by my training. I graduated from AFMC Pune, did my MD in pathology there, did my postdoc training in oncopathology from All India Institute, and I've been working as an oncopathologist for years. And then you reach a point where you say, I think I'm done. There are other things to do in life, and then you remember your cases, you remember some of your patients, and then you say, okay, I'm done with this.
So what does your day look like now that you're not actively practicing? What is it like?
So my day is still very busy.
How?
Now I am an early riser, okay. So usually by about 5:36 I'm awake, okay. And I do like to do my yoga practice in the morning, because I think yoga practice is best done early in the morning, khali pet.
And that's every day?
Yes, I try and do that every day. Okay. And I often try to put in a 30-minute walk before the yoga practice. Then I do my yoga, and by the time I'm all done with that, takes me to about 8:30, 8:45. Okay. And my husband and I, we are currently living with my mother. She is a super senior, and at 94. So by the time she wakes up, and then we all have our morning cup of tea together, get ready and things, and somehow in our family, I am the one who looks after the finances of the family, if I may say so. Okay. So just to look at the investments and what is happening to all that, then I look at that and I spend some time with that in the morning. Okay. I'm not following the Sensex or following a ticker tape.
None of that.
No. Because whatever little money we have, we put it into mutual funds. Let the fund managers earn their keep. Yeah. That is my logic.
Let them do their job and let them do it well.
Let them do their job. Let them follow the ticker tape, not me.
Right.
So we look at that a bit. I look at that, and then I have gone back to my hobbies with fair amount of gusto. I like knitting. Okay. I like cooking. I like baking. And I do a fair amount of reading as well. Evenings are generally spent we are very homebound, and like I said, home and hearth has always been the place where we've been rooted as a family. Right. My dad's, it was his term, ki beta, if your home and hearth is secure, you are fine in life, because you are grounded and you can stand there. So our evenings are generally at home, and my husband Anil has Parkinson's. So his trainer comes in the evening time, and he is usually, the trainer is usually there for about 2 to 2.5 hours.
Okay, so that's exercise that he's doing for 2.5 hours.
A little bit of exercise, a little bit of physio, stretching. So he is there in the evening.
You spoke about your mother who's 94. Your father also was a doctor, your mother was a teacher. What role did their professions play in you choosing to be a doctor?
So, Rajneel, I was in school in the 70s.
Yeah.
So, and 70, 71, 72, there weren't too many options available. And our country was still, it was the era of rationing and licensing at
Yeah.
that time.
The
So,
license Raj was very active.
very active. Everything was rationed. Everything. And licensing to tha hi, everything used to be rationed as well. And my parents have been markedly influenced by the partition, since my dad particularly went through the partition. Right. He was a student at Lahore Medical College, and then moved to India. Then he got allotted to complete his MBBS at King George. So the idea that you need something regular, something steady was vital in choosing a career. And my parents were very, very sure that we are three sisters. These three have to be financially independent tomorrow. So at that point, you did arts or you did science. And if you did science, you did the engineering stream or the medical stream. And then for girls, with all this, the best of the options was to become a doctor or you became a teacher. So I said, okay, I can fall back on teacher, but maybe one can try and be a doctor and, try on that side. So that's how I think I veered off to doing medicine. And the other thing, my dad was in the army, so that subtle thing was always there in the house, that it's a respectable job with a steady income, with a standing in society where people look at you as an army officer, as a doctor. So those sort of, I think, influences did play a part.
So, I mean, given the influence that you had, what was the advice you gave your children when they were choosing careers?
Oh, by the time it was the late 90s and the early 2000s, my children, my daughter and my son, Rashi and Ritan, were in class 9, 10, 11, 12, 2003, 4, 7. Right. I said, do what you want, but see that you do it well and do something that you want to do. My dad used to tell us that there is no compulsion that you must become a doctor, beta.
How did the army happen for you then? You chose medical, but how come being in the army?
So the entrance exam of AFMC, the first girl in the merit, and the first 50, 60 boys are offered a permanent commission.
Okay.
They are offered. I had topped the entrance exam at that time for the entire batch. So the permanent commission was offered to me.
How many years is that?
Permanent is 20 years, and a short service commission it used to be 5 years, now it is 7 years. Okay. So I spoke to my dad, and he says, look, beta, you know what the army life is. You will have to move. There will be postings. There will be different, places that you will go to. And he said, remember, you will get married tomorrow. We assume you will get married, then you will have a husband. So then you kind of restrict yourself to marrying somebody who's in the army. You can't be traipsing around the country and your husband is settled in Delhi or Bombay or Bangalore. It's difficult. Right. Let's say it's difficult for these kind of long distance marriages to sustain themselves. And he says, then there will be the children. So you think about it. So I think I chose the consequences, pretty happy with them. So Anil was also in the army. Anil actually, when we got married, Anil was short service. Okay. But then he changed and he said, even I will do a permanent commission, and we've both been together.
So how many cities have you all been in now?
So fair number. We've been to very quaint, sweet places. There's a cantonment town near Nasik called Devlali. Okay. That was our first posting after we got married. And people are telling us, "Arey, you must have got some pull, ya jack lagaya hoga Devlali posting ke liye," because it's considered such a pretty little place. Okay. It's one of the cantonment towns which the Britishers left behind. Okay. And the legacy cantonment towns by the Britishers are really beautiful places. So that was our first place. And Pune we've been to Jodhpur. Anil was in Srinagar during Kargil, Delhi, Calcutta. So we've been around. And I moved into oncopathology So if the army spends on training you, then they utilize your services. And oncopathology is there in the bigger hospitals.
The big hospitals are in bigger towns
Bigger
or cities.
They are what are called the command hospitals. So we have 7 of them. We have Delhi, we have
I think there's one in Bangalore.
that is the Air Force Command Hospital. The naval equivalent of the command hospital is Ashwini in Bombay. Then there is Lucknow, Udhampur, Chandigarh, Delhi. So these are all there.
Which was your favorite posting? Do you have any one favorite which you loved?
Devlali was very quaint because it was like a honeymoon posting for us. And I think Delhi has its charm. Delhi, I always say, is Delhi na दारू की तरह है दिल्ली. तुम्हें पता है लिवर खराब होगा, तुम्हें पता है सिरोसिस होगा दारू पी के, पर मरी दारू छूटती नहीं. दिल्ली जो आ जाए उससे दिल्ली छूटती नहीं. क्या करो? So Delhi was very nice, and also it kept us very close to our family, our cousins and relatives. But a real good fun posting was Calcutta. It was really fun. We went to Calcutta at a stage when our children were growing. They were young, and that is where my children started their tennis playing days. They've both been under 16 ranked players for IATA, All India Tennis Association. They were training there in Enrico Piperno's academy. Enrico Piperno is Leander Paes' coach. So he had an academy there, very close to where we were staying. And
Calcutta also, it's a cantonment?
no, not really, because that cantonment is completely intermingled with the civil setup.
Got it. Okay.
It's in Alipur, and as they say that behind Command Hospital Calcutta is the richest 2 square kilometers of India. All the big Marwadis have their homes there. We were in Calcutta. It was a real fun place. We enjoyed ourselves thoroughly. The children were at a stage where they weren't bogged down by board exams on their head. We were young. I was just starting out in my oncopathology work. We were young, we were energetic. The work in the hospital was very good. My colleagues were excellent people, and never forgot it. There were 2 of my senior colleagues in Calcutta who told me at that time that you are starting your journey in the army as an oncopathologist from here. Your first 6 months in Calcutta will establish your reputation till you leave, and even after that. It was very correct and very good advice, and I've always, I sort of pride myself that I've worked hard at my work, given it my all, because you are literally giving life and death decisions over there, literally.
So, being in the army, because you move that much, I'm guessing your change is always constant. How do you get used to that, or how do you adapt so quickly?
So, in the army, and not to forget that I was an army child as well. So, I literally spent all my life packing my bags and moving every 3 to 4 years, right?
It's very, you make friends. By the time you make good friends, you want to the next place.
Right. It has its own advantages. You go to so many places, you interact with people of so many different cultures, because you do meet the locals, right? You meet the locals, you meet a new set of people every time you go to a new station, and you make new friends. When you're in school, you learn how to adapt very well. And I think that's one of the reasons why, if you look and check, army kids do pretty well. Whether it is Ajay Banga, whether it is Priyanka Chopra, they're all Fauji kids, right? They're all Fauji kids. So, Anushka Sharma, everyone.
Army brats.
All brats. So, like even my kids, even they say that our biggest positive of moving around with mummy and papa was that they met so many different people. And it's as a child that you really interact more with the locals, because your school friends are children who are there. That has its big advantage. Somewhere I think एक जहन में बात आ जाती है कि हर चीज़ हमेशा नहीं रहती, and in the forge we तो are so adaptable. एक कमरा मिल जाता था, we would put up our curtains and we get the gas का cylinder, start the gas का चूल्हा, put 6 boxes, put a bed sheet, you're set. For the next couple of months you can carry on. Then you get your permanent accommodation, then you move in. So it teaches you adaptability. I think it teaches you that impermanence is the only permanent thing in life. It's only impermanence.
But is that the only factor why army kids are more successful, or what else does the army teach you?
A degree of resilience. And because you see, like life is not a cakewalk. And another thing which I think I would definitely like to bring in, the culture of physical fitness which is there in the army. See, the army officers, the men, everyone's going for compulsory PT in the morning, you're going for compulsory games in the evening. The children also, at some level, imbibe that. And then we have our social setups in the forge. The army clubs are pretty well known, right?
And they're fun loving and they have a lot of fun. You did have two other sisters and they moved with you. So was that like one good was that a good cushioning that even if everything else was changing, at least you still had friends, siblings inside the house? What was that relationship like?
Oh, three of us are very close to each other, and we were like brothers in arms for all kinds of masti and mischief. We were getting into trouble, knocking ourselves over, getting cuts and bruises and all that, and we were. But as children, we were very close to each other. Our home was a very safe and secure place, and mom and dad were like, we could talk to them about everything and anything. But when they said this has to be done, that was law. So one rule in the house was, evening you have to go out and play, but you will come back when the sun sets.
That was a fixed rule.
It's a law. So I translated that in my life. My kids, I couldn't tell them about sunset. Like I told you, it was 2002 and 2003. They are going out for birthday parties in some pub in Greater Kailash or in South X. So my logic used to be, Tariq nahi badlegi. No way.
Like Cinderella, before midnight, you have to be back.
Back home. Tariq nahi badalni chahiye. Don't do that.
Was that the rule for both your daughter and son?
It was. And plus, there was a time in the middle when my children were growing up. My husband got posted to Jabalpur. And since he was there, I was with two children, both in board classes. My in-laws were staying with me, and my parents were also, and we were in Delhi at that time, and my parents were here. My dad wasn't keeping too well. And that's the point where socially, when I would meet someone, oh, how are you? Colonel Sunita, how are you? Oh, good. So, how are your children? How many children do you have? Six. What do you mean, six? Two are less than 20, four are above 70 right now. So, and they were aging, they were not in the best of health. So, those were tough times, but.
And the reason I ask is because we, of course, moved to Delhi, but my sister had a different curfew time than I did. But that's also because when my parents moved to Delhi, they'd heard so much about how unsafe it was for women that she had to get in much faster than I had to. Of course, it's a different matter. I never used it.
So for my daughter, I told her that when you go out for parties with your friends, birthdays, etc., I'm okay if you do a sleepover in a friend's place, and when you reach their home, give me a call from the landline. And I used to have that 1100 rupiya wala Nokia, where you only could make a call and give a call, which honestly is what a phone should be used for.
But you said a phone should only make phone calls. What was it like growing up with no phone, no internet? I'm guessing barely any TV.
The color TV came into India in 1982, Asiad. I so distinctly remember that because that was the year when I was doing my internship.
Okay.
So absolutely no TV. There was black and white TV before that, 3 hours transmission in the evening, one movie on Sunday, Chitrahar on Wednesdays.
That's it.
But we never had a TV at home. Okay. When we used to go to my grandparents' place, the neighbors had a TV. And typical, like you see, the whole community would gather there. But I think we had more time, we did a lot more reading, we had a lot more of outdoor play, Right till I was in class 9 and 10, we used to go out and we were playing cricket and rounders. The entire colony kids would congregate in that one ground which was there, where our homes were. Lot of outdoor play, lot of outdoor activities. You're going out, walking. Sunday mornings, you're taking a packed lunch. Okay, mom, we are going. Kaun ja raha hai? वो भी जा रहा है, वो भी, okay, fine, there are 6-7 of you going, go. Times were safer. So we got, I think, all that a lot more reading done.
Was boredom ever a thing back then?
No. I don't think we ever got bored.
When you were studying, you first had MBPS, you started working, then you did your specialization, then again there was a gap before you went to AIMS. So in many ways that's lifelong learning. And when we think of careers today, with the advent of AI, people are wondering whether AI will take jobs. Everyone's saying you have to constantly be updated. There's one thing about doctors, they have to be constantly updated. How do doctors do that, and what are the learnings other people can take in terms of being having the knowledge and being ever ready all the time?
So in medicine, it's, as you mentioned, it is continuous learning, and we hold all of us have our own societies where we hold what is called a CME, continuous medical education, continuing medical education. So those are places where people who are in a research field or people who've had more experience, you collect your data, you observe, okay, these are, what we are seeing. We treat patients with a little tweak like this, outcomes are better, outcomes are worse. Then there are ways to formulate studies, and medical people are constantly interacting with each other in these CMEs. Your question that you keep yourself updated. Then we have our medical journals where people who are, you see a new case, you see a different case, you have a group of patients with whom you treated in a particular manner, or like in pathology, my field of histopathology and oncopathology in particular, you see that you observe that, these are the things, these are the way the cells and the tissue looks, these are the subtle features which can help us, these are the newer antibodies which can help us to diagnose. So continuing medical education is a very big part. Reading through journals and attending of conferences.
I mean, I used to joke and say this, right? When we were in college, we could do selective studying. We could study a few chapters, not study the others. I mean, it's difficult for doctors because you can't say, oh, I'll study this part, but I won't study that part, right?
So in medical college, it's a done thing.
How do you do that?
No, in medical college, it's a done thing. What did you do in college? You went through old question papers and you said, okay, they've covered this chapter 5 years ago, 3 years ago, पिछले साल नहीं आया, that is expected, ये पढ़ लो. You by deduction. In medical college, a whole lot of us, you've got to go through your book entirely. But when you're preparing for an exam, there's a whole host of people who will do only selective study. And there was a joke, there was one of my classmates, we used to say ki whatever she studies, that comes in the paper. So ask her in the morning, what have you studied? What have you studied last night? Right. Yes, but when you reach MD level studies, when you reach your DM and MCH level studies, then you realize that, it's a footnote can be your first patient, what is given as a little footnote in the text. So my personal dictum was to read the textbook literally cover to cover. Literally. I would do that.
And when you were studying, did it often feel like a responsibility that you had to do it? Because I didn't feel that it was my responsibility because I didn't have the risk that you may have.
It is a huge responsibility because you are dealing with somebody else's life. It is not even like a financial advisor. Do you lose 2 lakh, 4 lakh रुपए गए ना, जिंदा हो तो आ जाएंगे ना. But in my field, if I misdiagnose or I give a wrong diagnosis, that person will be, they might lop off a leg or lop off a breast, So we have in histopathology what is called frozen section examinations. The patient is on the table, opened up, and I remember in Calcutta when I started off, opened up, they take out a little bit of the tissue and they send it to the lab, you put it through rapid processing and you give your opinion, what it is. I so distinctly remember one young lady had come, 25 years old, big tumor in the pancreas, and she was on the table, and the 2 senior gastrosurgeons, they sent it to me and I said, sir, it's benign. Are you sure? Nothing points to it being benign in our imaging, in our other clinical examination. Are you sure? If you say it's benign, we are just going to selectively just remove that bit. Otherwise, cancer surgery is way more extensive. Are you sure? Yes, sir. Sunita, mind, this is going to set your reputation for your life. No, it's benign. Okay, we are closing up, we are coming out. I had 3 sleepless nights, 3 sleepless nights, 3 sleepless days till that tissue was processed. I saw it and I told them it's benign. And there was one of my senior teachers who was in Calcutta that time. I told him, मैंने कहा, sir, देख लो. No, I have confidence in you. I have taught you. I know what you are saying is right. Give the report. Sir, एक बार देख लो ना मेरे release करने से पहले. देख जाओ. I mean, so little things like that, they give you sleepless nights. Your patients are a big responsibility.
You've been a doctor now for the army and you've been a civilian doctor. What are the difference between the two?
If I may say so, in the army, the uniform gives you a great sense of brotherhood. You may not have worked with the same people ever before. You know, maybe you've been working for 15 years, but you've not worked with this particular surgeon or this pediatrician or this gynecologist before in your service. But your uniform is great bonding. And secondly, it's a very small, incestuous community. So your reputation precedes you wherever you go.
Right.
Having said that, in the army, every 3-4 years, you are re-establishing your credibility.
Because you're constantly moving.
You're with a new set of people. Despite that, I think in the army, we are way more open, way more clear and straightforward.
In terms of the diagnosis and what?
In terms of talking to the patients, talking to each other, and there is no monetary benefit for anybody. Everyone's getting the same salary.
Right.
It doesn't matter if somebody is a cardiologist, or if someone is an oncopathologist, or if someone is a general duty medical officer. If you're at the same rank and service, you're getting more or less the same pay.
Right.
More or less, right? In the civil setup, sometimes I feel money can sometimes corrupt that relationship.
Right.
And I feel that patient and doctor relationships are a little more, I would say, let's say they're a little more deliberate, little more thought through, and you're careful, very careful on what you talk with your patients, because you don't want to, not that the patient will object to honesty and straightforward talk, but your colleague in another department is likely to turn around and say, that was my turf, why did you interfere?
Right.
In the civil setup, because there money comes in, right?
I'm going to come to money in a while, but coming back to the armed forces again, many people perceive the armed forces to be like a boys' club. So, what is it being a woman in the, yeah.
So, the Army Medical Corps has had doctors for some time, women doctors. But yes, it is, you have to, again, with your men, when you're working with the men, you have to establish who is boss. And in the army, boss is boss. So I'll give you a small incident. I was posted at a hospital, base hospital in Delhi, and our lab, we had a full-fledged lab with microbiology, biochemistry, this, that, and there were about 35, 40 men, right? And we hold training courses for the young sipais who want to move into laboratory assistant, slot and work there, training courses for them. So those training courses invariably have 25 to 30 young men, their hormones ranging 21, 22 years old young boys. Yeah. So at a time in that lab, I had about 40, 45 men. The Subedar Major, who is the senior most among the NCOs and the junior commissioned officers, he came to me, he was from Rohtak. Okay. Because he came and told me that. And this was literally my second week in my post. I'm sitting in my room doing some work. He walks in and he says, "Madam ji, ye sign karo, ye aise hoga." मैं कहा, छोड़ दीजिए, मैं देख के फिर करूँगी. अरे कर दो, इसको टाइम लगेगा. कहते, आप एक चीज़ याद रखना, जितनी आपकी उम्र नहीं है, उससे ज़्यादा मेरी सर्विस है. And he was on the verge of retirement, so he was perfectly right. Look at the words he used. जितनी आपकी उम्र नहीं है उससे ज़्यादा मेरी सर्विस है. So I put my pen down, I looked at him and I said, कुछ तो फ़र्क होगा. मैं बैठी हूँ, आप मेरे सामने खड़े हो. आप अंदर आते हो तो आप सल्यूट मारते हो. He literally did a right about turn, walked out, and I think the word went through. You know, so the other thing is that as a woman and the boss of a bunch of men, and this incident which I'm telling you is in 93 or 94, you have to know your work because this is a very technical field. Very technical field. And even today, with women coming to the signals core or to the engineering core, you have to know your work, Rajneel.
Right.
They know that you know what you're talking about, and you have to know their work. Because if they make a mistake, you are in a position to rectify that error if you know your work. And like I always say, you got to know normal before you can identify what is abnormal.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
So, if you know your work, only then you know where they've gone wrong and if you know their work.
Correct.
So, I've kind of ensured that throughout.
Did you face the same issues when you moved into civilian life as well?
I actually transcribed and transposed all my army learnings here.
Okay.
In the civilian setup where I worked, each laboratory was working as an independent satellite.
Right.
The microbiology lab, the biochem lab, the blood banking setup of people, the histopathology, each one was separate. I got them all together. I said, we need to work as a team. We need to work as a team. I think I managed a decent job.
Now, being in the army, of course, there's a lot of moving around, as you mentioned. And then being a doctor obviously means being on call, being there in an emergency. So how do you manage being in the army, being a doctor and family? How do you bring that balance?
So, I made one conscious decision and I moved into pathology when I was doing my MD because I did my MD after Anil and I had got married. That was a conscious decision, knowing that calls in pathology are very rare. In the army, we have what we call doing a night duty because in a smaller hospital, in a place like Shillong where we were, or in Devlali where we were, Jodhpur, these smaller hospitals, everyone chips in to do the emergency night duty to man the emergency ward, emergency reception area. 24 hours it's manned, so by turn you do it.
Right.
So, you know, children are very adaptable and they learn and they know that today Papa is on duty, today Mama is on duty. They're very adaptable and they learn. And sometimes it's tough. In Shillong, I recall that once, in fact, this was 6th December 92. What happened? The Babri Masjid came down.
Right.
Right? There was curfew all over the country, all over the country. And we were posted in Shillong at that time. And there was a call for a pathologist to reach Tejpur.
Okay.
On 8th of December. The call came on 7th, that reached by tomorrow, Tejpur, 8th of December. Assam was shut down. No trains, no buses, nothing, no transport. I said, how am I supposed to go? As it is from Shillong to Guwahati, you go by road and then you go ahead, you know, by road, partly by train. So that kind of a situation becomes a little tense.
Right.
You know, for the family,
Yeah.
for Anil and the kids who were there. My mother-in-law had come. She
I'm
was
guessing no mobile phone at that.
no,
No mobile phone,
92,
no pager,
no.
nothing. Huh.
So the only way was that they give you a Fauji gadi. You go down. I went down to the Guwahati hospital, went over there, and then made a phone call back to the Shillong hospital that can you convey to my husband that I have reached Guwahati. And then you're there. What do you do? How do you go? I used to be in the All India Institute lab from about 7:30 in the morning to about, and I'd reach back home by 7:30, 8 p.m.
It's a long work.
Long day. In the morning, I would put them in the school bus. The car would be ready. I had a Maruti 800 at that time. So at the gate we are standing. They would sit in the school bus and turn off right. And literally I would sit in the car and turn off left and drive down to All India Institute. But at that point, I said, these two little mites, they will pay the price. You do pay a price. And we had a senior technician in All India Institute. His name was Murari ji. He had a landline phone, the lab. So I had given that phone at home. There would be times when my daughter, who was much like savvy and smarter than older, she'd call up, Murari uncle, जरा मम्मी को कहना उनकी शक्ल भूल रही है आज please थोड़ा जल्दी घर आ जाएं. You know, it's such a poignant statement coming from a kid because you're out 7:30 in the morning, and by the time I reach back, they finished dinner, they're standing in their night suits, literally just waiting to say good night.
And I wanted to ask you this because, I mean, now not related to the army, but you as a doctor. I was interviewing Mr. K.K. Venugopal. He was a senior advocate and the former Attorney General. And I had a general question to him about money. And when that video went up, it was the very first episode of this podcast.
Okay.
There was a comment on that which I want to read out to you and get your view. And that comment was, I love the fact that lawyers have created an environment where they celebrate money and that is how it should be. Unfortunately, when doctors try to enjoy even a penny of their money, they are ridiculed. What is your view on this?
Whoever made the comment, so true. It's so pathetic, but it is so true. Because society views doctors as people जो सेवा करेंगे, है ना, सेवा करोगे. भाई आप ये क्यों भूल जाते हो? Because it deals with your life, you think it should be seva. But that doctor has a family, has a spouse, parents, children, kids have to go to school, house rents have to be paid, electricity bills have to be paid, and your kids and my kids, your meaning, go to the same schools. Nobody gives us concessional rates in schools because we are doctors. Nobody does that. It is a perception in society कि doctor को सेवा करनी चाहिए. And that perception, I don't know what it is. It stems from years and years of thought कि सेवा करो. Teachers को सेवा करनी चाहिए, noble profession. Doctors को सेवा करनी चाहिए, noble profession. भाई उस teacher और उस doctor का घर भी तो है. Think of that. For cosmetology, everyone is willing to pay. Right? Kids don't want to do medicine. They are happy to do engineering because after engineering, you can veer off and, get corporate jobs where you start earning after 3 years, 4 years, 5 years of college education. In a placement set up in a college, 15 lakhs per annum is like, okay, it's the lower rung, right? You go to an MBA college, but you go post MBBS तो नौकरी नहीं मिलेगी पहली बात. House job मिलेगा कहीं पे रो के with horrible working hours, no question of work-life balance, no question. You are there because you are the first rung which looks at those patients. And work-life balance goes when you finished with your post-graduation or your super specialization, the jobs you get are so low paying for all that you have done, all the effort, the nights you've spent, the family you've sacrificed.
And a medical education is not inexpensive either. It costs a lot.
Costs a lot. And it costs a lot to society, it costs a lot to the institution, it costs a lot for the individual. All three pay a price. You are not willing to pay that to them. Junior doctors often start at 1 lakh a month. 1 lakh a month. I mean, and with the corporatization of healthcare, salaries for junior doctors are very pitiable. That's how there is still a race to join government, colleges, the government setup, and armed forces has its.
But does government pay better than corporate?
Not towards the end, no. The government has now with the seventh pay commission, it's pretty decent.
Okay. Yeah. You spoke about this expectation that people have of doctors. One of the other issues we're seeing in the country is the increasing confrontation between patients and doctors, right? Occasionally you'll see like a viral clip of patients attacking doctors. In Kolkata, there was a very brutal murder that had happened, rape and murder.
And that wasn't to do with attacking.
Of course, it wasn't attacking doctors, but I think it brings to the fore the safety of doctors in hospitals, right? Do you have a view on that, or how do you think we can solve this problem? How do you ensure that trust is increased and doctors also, one, get their due and are more safe in the workplace rather than, be, I mean, you have patients thinking, oh, the doctor's out to take me for a ride, right? How do you solve that? Is that even solvable?
It's very difficult. I can understand and I can, get that statement which you're making. The issue is very often in our country, levels of education are low and awareness about medical problems is even lower.
Correct. I want to switch gears a little bit. You're also a caregiver, as you said, you have 6 children. But what is it like taking care of a 94-year-old when you're also a senior? Do you learn from your mother and say, oh, this is what I'm not going to do? Or, I've seen her go through it, so I should make those improvements. Like, what is it like?
So, from mom to be calm, to react to a situation, not act impulsively, act out, think and not react spontaneously, think and then take an action. And she is one person from whom I have learnt her social connections are phenomenal. Like I said, she is the one, she is the matriarch of our family, a rock of Gibraltar, holding everyone together.
You also mentioned your husband's had Parkinson's, and I think every evening for 2.5 hours he's doing his exercise. And you also said that that's been controversial because many people thought you should be opting for medication versus exercise.
Anil was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2004. It's 21 years now, long journey. Initially in 2004, 5, 6, that time they used to say, no, it's medicines which you need, medicines which you need. But practical experience had shown Anil and shown me that the days he exercised, he was better. And even if he missed his medicine, today there is proof that exercise is vital. It's a vital component of treating Parkinson's. Of course, now for Parkinson's, there's a surgery also available. Anil has undergone that surgery. He underwent that surgery in 2020 June.
Is it the placement of that device?
Yes,
which,
yes. It's called the DBS, Deep Brain Stimulation Surgery. They're like a pacemaker on his chest, and he has 2 wires going down through the brain matter into 2 points, specific points in the brain. So he's undergone that surgery, and he is a person who I sometimes say is pathologically optimistic. He's so optimistic, and he's always said, ki, no, I'll be okay, I'll be fine. And he pushes himself where his exercise is concerned. And since he's been living with Parkinson's for 21 years now, he's written a book. It's called My Friendship with Parkinson's.
What was the motivation for that?
He is part of a WhatsApp group. It's a pan-India WhatsApp group called Positive Support. So as one of the oldest patients with Parkinson, chronological, Parkinson's in that group, people would ask, how should I handle stiffness? I can't turn in my bed in the morning. In the morning after 2 hours, I can't, even pick up a cup of tea or coffee. So he'd be answering those questions for them on that WhatsApp group. He became like the self-styled guru of that group. So he decided there is so much out there on the internet, in medical books. He collated all that information together, literally on how to live with Parkinson's. So practically every question on Parkinson's that you have, how to wear your shoes, how to walk, everything he's tried to answer.
And as a doctor, have both of you all also gone deeper into Parkinson's and understood more about what it is, how to deal with it? Do you end up self-medicating sometimes, or you have to go to a specialist?
No. Anil was doing that, and I was the one who was pushing and saying, no, you're an ENT surgeon, I'm an oncopathologist. How much to take of this medicine, when to take, which to take, that the neurologist will tell. I said, मैंने कहा उन्होंने कोई झक तो नहीं मारी इतने साल neurology पढ़ के. We have to listen to them, You have to listen to what the specialist in the field is saying.
Now as you grow older, what are some of the changes you're seeing in yourself? Are you noticing anything?
I am noticing maybe I am little slower, in the sense that what all I could get accomplished when I was, say in 2000, 25 years ago. Maybe I'm a little slower in that.
Is that a function of design, or because now you don't have to
I-
finish it that quickly anymore,
that quickly,
right?
so that's one. And second, little things, little objective things. I have always been sort of trying to keep myself fit, and
You do yoga every day.
I do my yoga every day, I walk every day, but this is an objective thing that I have noticed. Till about maybe 12, 14 years ago, I could walk at 6 to 6.5 kilometers per hour.
Per hour?
Yes, so my speed was that much. 10 minutes I was doing a kilometer, and we were in places in Delhi and all where that time Apple Watch wasn't there, but you knew that, you'd measured out. Ki, till that particular house is 3 kilometers from my house. So in Delhi, my aim was to go there and come back within the hour, and I could manage that. Now I'm walking at about 5 kilometers an hour. That's not too bad, but I can manage up to 5 kilometers. So that is something where I can physically see that I'm a little slower. And the other thing, like this, and I have more time to do my own thing, to devote to my knitting or to my reading. And plus, I have no pressing commitments to meet. Right? Like, I have a bunch, I have a very freeing. I don't have a bunch of reports which I must clear. And I've always done that, Your reports must go in time. Everything when done in time has value. अगर वो time निकल गया तो फिर उस चीज़ की value नहीं है. Then you may as well just throw it in the dustbin. And particularly in medicine, your reports must go in time. Otherwise,
is key.
It's just important. So I don't have that pressure, commitment. That is, I have more time for myself, and there's nobody to stop me. If I'm sitting and watching a movie at 10 in the morning, I feel like watching a movie at 10 in the morning.
Has there been anything you've changed your mind about in terms of, viewpoints, worries, tensions?
Yeah, I would say that I was a kind of person who was probably aiming for perfection in every aspect. I've let go. You can't do everything.
How do you let go though? That's very hard.
It is hard, but very, very long ago, my sister gave me a book, a small little book, it was about not letting small things bother you.
Okay.
Right? If it's so small, just let it go. And if it is something which will not be remembered or not have an impact, 1 year from today is not worth thinking and spending time and effort on.
You have a granddaughter who's 5. How do you connect with her? Like, what is it like?
She's such a pleasure. She's such a pleasure. I think we get along very well together. So she was talking to me the other day, and very conspiratorially, she's telling me, Nani, when you come here, you'll see I'm still cycling with my trainer wheels on my cycle. I said, oh, are you? And she's, trying to play with me, and she's a joy, total joy.
Do you have FaceTime calls every day or like WhatsApp calls?
No, my kids are very strict with her screen time. So she's allowed FaceTime calls only on weekends.
Oh, only on weekends?
Only? No. So when she wakes up on Saturday morning and Sunday morning, that's when we do our video calls.
Okay.
And otherwise, she's allowed, she knows, she's allowed 2 episodes of whatever favorite show she wants to see on Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon. And not a suspicion, my kids have done it because they want to snooze. They want to snooze at that time. They know she's sitting there.
I mean, one of the things parents do very often is just give a screen to the child because the child is captivated by what's on screen and they can do whatever
What they
else,
want.
right?
No, that they don't allow her. And when we go on long road journeys, when I'm with them, Khan Academy, you've heard of Khan Academy.
course, yeah.
So Khan Academy has a Khan Kids, by the way.
Okay. So she's
So
watching
she's
Khan
allowed
Kids.
that. On the long 45-minute, 1-hour drive, okay, you do Khan Academy. And from there, then she tells us, Nani, name all the types of dinosaurs. Believe me, I don't know. Besides Tyrannosaurus Rex and, Ceratops, I don't know the names of the others. Right. She knows them all. Little, and she's picked up from there. And she's picked up about wildlife. She's picked up about, lots of things, nature. She's picked up about nature, about plants. Khan Academy for kids.
One of the things when you're looking, when you have Indian children who are being brought up in the West, some of their practices are very different. For example, my sister stays in the US. She's trying to sleep train her children, which we don't do here. Have you ever had any of those inputs and saying, don't do this or don't do that?
I have never interfered in how they want to bring up their child. But this sleep train issue, it's a big thing in the West.
Yeah.
I told them there are actually studies to say that for the child's psychology and stability, mental stability, it is important that the parent be around, because that little constant heartbeat, that rhythmic sound of the breathing, the warmth of the human adult body, the smell of the parents, the children relate to that and they know, okay, maybe that was a nightmare, my safe space is here. So I was telling her, I said there are studies which say that for grounded, good brain development, psychological adjustment of children, even co-sleeping till they are 6, 7, 8 years old, perfectly fine.
I had one last question before we come to the rapid fire round. Is, again, this is back to seniors. You may have had, because you engage with a lot of seniors as well, loneliness is a very big issue, right? How do you, is that an issue you face, or for people around you who are facing it, how do you try and, make them feel less lonely?
At least in the senior community, the people I interact with, they need their social connections. It is so important. You know what happens? You have a senior in the house, you bypass them for everything. Then they are left lonely in a corner as a part of the furniture. That shouldn't happen. And my mom is very vocal about it. Tell me, what were you talking about? Now her eyesight is failing a bit, her hearing is also not the best. What were you talking about? Let me know. Otherwise, I feel that I'm useless sitting here. So it is that sense of wanting to belong, to be wanted, that will cure your loneliness. And a lot of it is your own mental state. You need to know what you want to do with your time. People who have engaging hobbies are less lonely. And in India, the generation of seniors, there are my own classmates who still continue working. And I asked one of them, I said, why are you still continuing? She said, I don't know what else to do. If you don't have a engaging hobby, what do you do with your time? Right? How long can you keep looking at your finances?
Yeah.
Right? Unless you're going to make a profession of that.
Correct.
Right?
Right.
नहीं तो तुम अपने बच्चों का सिर खाओगे.
This is the last section, just very quick answers. I'm going to ask you questions also quickly. So I'm going to start. There are 11 of them in total. First one, one good thing about aging.
Complete control on your time and independence.
One bad thing about aging.
Maybe the fact that in another 10 years I may have some medical issues. That bothers me.
Got it. One thing you liked about being younger.
I think I had more speed, I had more stamina. That's what I liked about being young.
And one thing you disliked about being young.
I had no time for myself. I was on a treadmill.
So now you have more time. Perfect. Looking back, what advice would you give to your 30-year-old self?
That book which I read, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff.
When you were 30. Got it. If you could go back and change one thing in your life, what would that be?
I really don't think I would change much. Maybe I would strive to get more control on my temper.
That would be one thing. Got it. A show that you've been watching or recently watched?
Oh, I just finished it, The Testament of Moses. Fascinating. This was a 3-part serial on Netflix on Moses' life. It was very nice, very fascinating.
A song that you've been listening to, which has been on loop, or something you recently discovered?
है तुझे भी इजाज़त कर ले खुद से मोहब्बत by Pritam.
A book that you're currently reading?
I'm actually reading a book on Ayurveda. And there's another book which I'm reading by Devdutt Patnaik. It's called My Gita.
With all the experience that you have, what is the one piece of advice you would give to A, the younger generation, and to the senior generation?
To the younger generation, I would say that when you are doing your work, do it with concentration, be fully in your work. And when I say work, I don't only mean your profession or whatever. And cultivate multiple facets in your life. Like I said, I really believe in the value of good engaging hobbies. Live a life of moderation. There is no good to be had by binge drinking and pub crawling and all. That's not going to help you.
So no excesses, just moderation.
No excesses. Experience everything in moderation. That's what I would say to the younger generation. Remember that your work, your professional life is not your life. That's one aspect. In my book, it's 1/5. There's so much more that you have to look at, and you have to develop, you have to nurture, you have to cultivate. And don't, in today's fast-paced world, our kids, don't ever forget your human relations. Don't forget your siblings, your parents, your cousins, your family. At the end of the day, it is your family who stand by you. And to seniors in today's digital world, my dictum, I never use my phone for any money transactions except UPI. And my UPI, that Google Pay, is linked to an account where I usually have 1.5 lakh. My thought is, ye gum gaya to gum nahi. Whatever else you want to do, either learn to do it on a laptop or get somebody trusted to do it for you on a laptop. I would. But learn about your own money.
That's very good advice.
One thing which I tell my own peer group to do, which I have not done, is make my will. I have it planned out. I have a draft in my laptop. I asked Anil, I said, Anil, have a look at this. Arey, likh de jo likhna hai, kar de jo. Main theek hai, all right. But I want my 2 children to vet that draft. Are you okay? This is what we are going to do. It's basically 50-50. But that is one thing which in my book of to-dos is still pending.
Oh, this has been a wonderful conversation, Dr. Kakkar. Thank you so much for speaking with us. It's really been wonderful.
Thank you so much, Rajneel. It's been a great conversation, and I've been all over. I revisited my childhood, some parts of my fun college days, and later growing up. Thank you very much.
Thank you.